What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of At Home with Mark. Today is season 9, episode 2. And this young man here that we have on the show is another Marylander. This is super
Yeah.
exciting. Joey Harkum, thank you so much for making some time, buddy.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me. This is awesome.
Man.
I'm excited.
Yeah. So we got a lot to get into. Maryland and beyond. But tell me, man, what is your earliest musical memory?
My father could play 100 cover songs by heart. So we just spent almost every night in the living room singing songs, man. And
Really?
that's what got me into it. My grandfather played Irish music and loved like the rebel songs and stuff like that. And my dad loved country music and like Southern rock. So that was kind of like the early stuff for me getting into music. And then, when you're a kid, you find punk rock and reggae and, kind of dig further into that stuff. And you're angry, so your music's loud. And then I feel like the older you get, the quieter you get somehow.
So tell me, so if your dad could like play that much of a catalog of music, like what was your favorite stuff that you could play with him and that you could sit and listen to him even play?
Probably like CCR and like Johnny Cash and stuff like that,
Okay.
I was really, really like into Dylan too, like when I was young, and just songwriters, like stories, I loved, which I think is why even when I try to rock out nowadays, it's just still acoustic music. But yeah, I always loved the stories. Like Give My Love to Rose, that Johnny Cash song. Guy gets out of prison, trying to get back to his family, dies on train tracks. Like, I love depressing music, but it makes me happy. Like,
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's
Well,
like that.
I love it.
It's like that Elliott Smith thing, where it's like this really like sad hope type of vibe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That makes a lot of sense now that you say that with like, your previous, childhood listening to music like that and coming into what you do now with, between like, ska, punk, reggae meets like the country world, meets the storytelling world. That kind of is all coming crashing in on me right now in terms of like what you are as an amalgamation of a musician.
I think it was like, there's some, when you're growing up, you kind of like get into whatever's popular almost, you know what I mean? Like at some point I was like into Slipknot, but it didn't stick, but it was like, it was popular music at the time, which is great music. Like, I'm not saying anything bad about like what they do. It's amazing. But it was, I think for me, like, Bright Eyes, Conor Oberst, I found that Wide Awake This Morning album. And it was like my anthem for a long, long time. Me and all the guys in the band, and then early on, a friend of mine gave me a tape she made with Flog and Molly on, and I was like, "This is it! Like that's my favorite band. Like I'm there every chance I get to go to show, I go." But I think it's like that kind of like emotional, sad music. It just does something to me,
right? And I know that we kind of connected over the Wood Brothers too, but like, what is it about that band that you dig? Because there's a band that's like taking a bunch of different styles and kind of throwing them in a pot and stirring it up.
I like when I watch Oliver Wood play guitar, I'm like, even if I could play like that, I couldn't sing over that. Like, it's crazy. I don't know what it is about them, man. I think because it is like a mix of like really soulful, like gospel mixed with like funk, and then they have like such a crazy, weird percussion situation. And it's just like,
yeah, man.
And it's something that can sound really good full band or like stripped down. He's got great lyrics, great lyrics. Yeah, I don't know. They're the only band that I really, really love that I haven't seen live yet. It's crazy. Every time they're anywhere near Maryland, I'm out of town.
Yeah,
and I just travel a lot, so I miss a lot of stuff. But I somehow get to catch people. But I think he was playing acoustic at Ram's Head and I wasn't in town. I was so bummed, man. It was just like him
Mm,
solo at Rams on stage, and
yeah.
I couldn't make it, man. Bummer.
They're coming through this fall, and I think they're playing in Bethesda. Um, let me look at that, and I'll see if you're because I know those cats pretty decently now.
Dude, we'll go together if I'm home. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'll let you know. Like, because I think I might go shoot video with them before. Because John O'Rick's the drummer in that band.
Uh-huh.
I mean, he's one of my favorite drummers of all time. Now, it's
He's
like,
amazing.
oh, dude, that guy's on another planet. But yeah, I'll check the dates and see if you're going to be around, dude. That would be fun. All right, so Wood Brothers, have you ever like listened to Dawes at all?
Yes, I'm late on everything, like fucking everything.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Dawes. Recently, we have just like he's on every time we're on a long trip with the band,
Oh, okay.
and his I think what's so cool about him is like he makes such a great story, and he wraps it all into the hook in a certain way, but it's always like a little bit of everything when he's like he goes from like a guy getting ready to jump off the San Francisco bridge to like a buffet. It's like if it was anybody else writing that song, it'd be so cheesy.
Mm-hmm.
Like but it does it beautifully, and you're like you get to the end, and you're like, what the fuck just happened? Like
Right.
this is insane. Like and like all your favorite bands, like you can't listen to that without crying. Like you
Yeah.
just can't. It's just not possible if you're in this life. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, crazy, man.
He's another great storyteller. Another great storyteller. I mean, there's just like, so who right now, like, if you're just gonna hop in your car and you're driving to the grocery store, like, what are you listening to right now?
Right now, I am doing Tyler Childers, Jason Isbell, um, Molly. I'm trying to think if there's any new guys lately. Like I said, I get on everything late, but I don't know if there's any like brand. Let me look at my Spotify real quick.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm just always curious about this.
Yeah.
Do you find, Joey, that like when you're writing like a new record, like how influenced are you by like the surroundings of like what music you're surrounding yourself with?
Oh, very. Yeah, like to the point where like um Joe Pug's like one of my favorite guys. He's from Maryland as well. I'm sure you probably ran into him. Um but I have a few songs that I've been writing recently, and I'm playing. I'm like, oh no, this sounds just like a Joe Pug song. It's like I gotta change it now. I can't do it.
That's funny,
But
man.
yeah, like I'm listening to a lot of Americana, and like I'm actually been listening to a lot of uh, Mountain Goats. This isn't like new music, but oh, you don't do check them out. It's awesome. It's
No,
like
I don't know. No.
very beautiful, like indie Americana, but the lyrics are like dark and like sarcastic. I don't know. It's really good stuff. Yeah, but it's almost like making me. I'm writing a little more not like foul or anything, but like my lyrics are a little more edgy than I think I would have done like if I hadn't been listening to them a lot, because they're just very very like edgy kind of subject matter. Like,
Okay, that's cool.
yeah, like sex, drugs, and rock and roll kind of like mixed in with like an Americana folk song. It's pretty cool.
Okay.
But I don't know. I listen to their old stuff. I don't know if they have new records or not. I have like my albums I go to. So, but I'm sure they're still making music. They're great.
Okay. So let's go backwards a little bit. So like, all right, so you're growing up, you're hanging out with your dad, you're listening to these tunes, you're learning, you're singing, and then you said, okay, but then at some point you want to start listening to your own stuff. So you start listening to things that are a little bit edgier, a little bit harder, like the pop or the punk rock, ska stuff, reggae. Because you know what's interesting, what I found is a lot of I felt like that was like the Annapolis surrounding sound was like all that stuff, like the ska, the punk, that like almost sublime-ish type vibe, but kind of like taking it a little step further. So like, what did you find first on your own that you were like, oh damn, this is my joint, you know, like this is like speaking to me?
First kind of guy that I think I found on my own, to be honest, I think was Brett Dennen. I think Brett
Oh,
Dennen, um, I was into Sublime, Green Day, and then, from like finding Sublime and Green Day, I found Operation Ivy and, like, uh, Bob, not that I knew who Bob Marley was, but I dove into like reggae, like Peter Tosh and stuff. And then, but the first time I heard Brett Dennen was on R&R on the radio. He had a Christmas song and they were playing Christmas music. And I think it's called The Holidays Are Here and We're Still at War. It's a beautiful song.
oh wow.
And I heard it. And I looked him up on like, it must have been Pure Volume or something like that back in the day. And he was kind of doing the same thing I was doing. He was just like a singer songwriter, kind of like almost like sad beach music, kind of. So I was like, "Whoa, this is my stuff," And then I just dove into him, and from him I started finding other kind of singer songwriters like that. I found Joe Pug similarly. I think he was on my Brett Dennen Pandora station, or something like that. And then Joe Purdy, have you ever messed with him? Heard him?
Yeah, yeah,
I
man.
found him, and I was like gone, dude. I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
He's so versatile, and like loved it.
You know
That's the
what's
kind of stuff,
crazy about Joe Purdy too is like, I think the first time I heard his music was he had a song in Lost, like on the TV show Lost.
Really.
And I think and it's funny because my wife and I just started rewatching Lost with my daughter at the beginning of the summer, and the very last episode is the one we're watching tonight after this show. It's so funny that you brought that up because it's like I remember there was a couple tunes that were in the first season, and he was one of them. And my
Yeah.
wife and I fell in love with him. Yeah,
He's got so many good songs.
so
Crazy.
good, dude. So
I would
when
imagine he's like a weird dude.
maybe. Well, when did you start playing guitar? Like, how old were you?
um, I think later as a kid than other people, but probably like I always could play chords, and like my dad taught me like I how to play chords early, and then I was in like guitar class in like high school, and I think around 16, 15, 16, I was like get interested in singing, and then I think I wrote my first song like 16, 17.
Okay.
First
See that?
time you get heart broke, you like write a song. You're like, why'd you do this to
Do you remember the name
me?
of said song?
I don't. The oldest one I can remember is a song I have called Rock Bottom. And that wasn't too far after that one. Because I think we made our first record when I was pretty young, like 22 or 21, something like that, maybe 21.
Okay.
So,
Was that a solo record or was that with the band?
um, oh, I know. It was when I was fucking 18 because I moved to Baltimore when I was 16. I mean, 18.
Oh, okay.
And I was working in Fells Point, and there was an open mic at the Red House Tavern. Do you ever go there back in the day?
Yeah, man, for sure.
Place was amazing. So we go to the open mics, and I remember we auditioned to play there. He would have you come in with the band and play a set. This is what we were talking earlier, like old school way. Like you wanted to play the bar, we had to go in on a Monday and play for the owner. This guy John, who's an amazing guy, John Harris, who just recently passed, fucking great guy. And we hit it off with him, and then next thing you know, I'm running the open mic. We're like playing there once a month, and I met Kevin Baker from Live Alien Broadcast. Lives down the road from there. He come to the open mics, and he had a small label, so he put our first EP and our first record out under his
Oh,
label. So that would have been between 2006 2008. I can't remember, but
okay.
yeah, I really kind of just played guitar more than just a living room hobby, so I could write and sing, which is kind of why all my songs are just so simple.
Eh, I mean, there's beauty in simplicity, my friend. I mean,
Yes, I think so.
it's been
100%,
documented.
man.
So was that predating the band Pasadena, or was that Pasadena? That was the start of your career.
Pasadena's a start, yeah. Yeah. And
Okay.
we would kind of just hit all the open mics in the city. And I think we got booked a gig at like the Thunderdome. You remember that
Really?
place?
Yeah,
Yeah, bro. I played the Thunderdome, dog.
yeah. That's
And
dope.
we didn't have a band name because we were only playing like house parties and open mic stuff. And whenever we come in, we were just like wild as shit, and like we roll real deep with all our friends, and they would just always say to the guys from Pasadena are here again or whatever, you know. So we were
Uh,
like, we're Pasadena, man. We're the band from Pasadena. Let's go.
that's hilarious, dude.
Yeah.
So there was no thought about like we need a band name, like if you're playing house parties and stuff.
We it was a toss up between Pasadena and there's like a place around the corner here in my neighborhood that like you could rent like anything from like a chainsaw to a cement mixer. You know, it's just like a industrial rental place. It's called Bay Country Rentals, and we thought that was a cool name too. So it's like the toss up with Pasadena or Bay Country Rentals, which neither are good names, but I think the Bay Country Rentals is a little bit of a handful. If we were like a ska band, I think it would have worked or something. But
Right? Oh my god. So
yeah,
has there ever been like a like artistic vision in terms of like the style of music that you want to be like writing and performing, or are you kind of just letting it come out of you? And however, it's like we were talking about earlier with like, we all can be influenced by whatever we're listening to. So is it just kind of organic, the music that was kind of coming out?
yeah, very organic. I recently have not like not been pandering or anything, but like, you know, now that I'm older and wiser, I'm like, well, I've been playing music that doesn't fit in any scene for this long, and it's been a slow climb, and it's probably because, you know, I don't fit on the reggae festival. I don't fit on the folk festival. I don't fit on this because it's just like a little bit of everything, you know. So trying to kind of wrap my head around that because yeah, I've always just done it pretty organically. Like we have a lot of songs with hip hop in it, and a lot of songs with like reggae vibe, harder songs where I'm screaming, you know, like. But the last few years have been pretty much like kind of like a beachy Americana
Mm-hmm.
um, vibe, and I think probably going to lean into that a little more and try and maybe get some more stuff in that Texas country, you know, maybe Nashville. We're talking about going to Nashville and doing. I used to go down there a little bit and do showcases, so we're gonna maybe try and tap back into that and try and get more into the singer songwriter kind of scene, just because I think I think that's where I can kind of get to the next tier if I can insert myself, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's all organic. I don't really know how to paint her too much yet, but I'm working on
Well, it's funny because I
it.
mean, I can see you playing the Newport Folk Festival just fine. You know what I mean?
Me
Like,
too. Tell them they don't.
I,
No,
yeah,
see, I wouldn't apply to that one yet because that's a big one. But I've applied to many festivals and many of them, many management, a lot of great management and agents and stuff who we've reached out to. You know, they're all kind of saying the same thing. They're just like, they respond, which means they don't have to do that because a lot of them don't. You know, and they're very nice and they're like, we like Joe, we just don't have a place for Joe right now. You know, it's like,
right.
so I don't know. We're doing
Yeah.
pretty good on our own, but you know, when you see like a lot of these bands on every festival, it's definitely has something to do with their management and their team because they're in the mix, you know. So it's
Yeah.
nice to get on in some way get into that world
Yeah,
of
man.
the
Well,
pecking order.
how big is the team right now? I mean, I'm sure that you're handling a lot of stuff too. So,
Um, yeah, I got my manager Dave Halchek. He's awesome. He's out in Denver, and he works for Mammoth Music Groups. Great guy. Works really hard for me. And Tim Azzi is booking me, and Tim's kind of like, um, he's kind of like me and a lot of his artists, like just very independent. Like he's not on a agency. It's just him by himself, and he does a great job. He's got me playing all over the country, and um, since I got with him, I think I got with him 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. But man, it's just been up and up since I got him. So I got a great team. I'm hiring. I'm hiring like a TM merch person first of the year. So pretty excited about that because I've been doing the merch myself for like a year,
Yeah.
and I love it because it's I don't hide around. I don't hide the green room anyway. Like I'm out in the bar anyway, but I've been like losing my voice just from talking all night.
Yeah, dude, you can't
You
do
know.
that. Dude, I was just Andy called me last Friday and was like, "Hey man, do you want to sit in with us tonight at the Wax show?" And I was
Oh,
like,
I saw you were down there rocking with him. Yeah, that's
I
awesome.
was like, "Oh, like let me see if I can get a hall pass." And my wife was like, "Yeah, dude, go."
I saw
And
some videos of you shredding, dude.
yeah, it was fun. But I was in the hallway waiting for them to finish their song so I could go up. And Wax rolls up and he was like, "Oh, what's up, dude?" Because I had him on the show, so I've known him for a minute.
Oh man, he's the
And
best.
he is. And I was like, "Where have you been?" He's like, "Doing the merch." I was like, "Doing the merch?" I'm like, "Bro." I was like, "But you gotta perform later, man." So anytime I hear that, I'm like, "Oh, that's exhausting." I mean, it's awesome because you get to connect with your fans, obviously, right? But
Yeah.
it is, you gotta protect this too. You gotta protect your voice. So that's
Yeah,
hard.
I mean, I'm looking forward to not having to do that. It's a shame because like, yeah, like I probably sell a ton more because I'm like back then, we're like, you're selling your own shit, and they will come say hi, and they're like, and then they look at the table like, oh, give me that
Yeah.
t-shirt or whatever. But yeah, it takes a lot out of you for
Yeah.
sure.
Especially if you gotta be like like killing some time for like 2 hours before your set. It's like, man,
Oh yeah, and
that's a grind.
I do most of the driving. Um, I'm the TM, so I'm doing all the advances, and it's all my stuff. So I'm like worried about the van. You know?
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's talk about that
It's
because
a
I
lot.
saw you're looking to kind of upgrade for the tour vehicle, and like
Yeah, man.
we were talking a little bit about this beforehand, but like it takes a lot to keep a band afloat and keep it, keep the train rolling, keep gas in the tank and everything. So like, let's talk about that. So you're with everything you just said, like being the tour manager, like managing all this stuff, like obviously the stress involved in that is got to be a lot on you. And driving too, and having the energy for the gig that night, depending on how far in between gigs you guys are rolling. Tell me a little bit more about that, how you handle that.
Um, well, things get missed.
Sure.
Yeah, a lot of things get missed because I'm trying to do a lot. Luckily, my bass player Joey Mitchell, who's just amazing guy, man. My whole band is like a bunch of like pro, like all know their shit. Like they know everything is about music, and like but Joe helps me drive. Joe will leave me if I need him at the merch table, and he's probably the most responsible when it comes to like intake. So like he's always a good hand, but it's tough, man. It's tough. We do a lot of support tours too, where the headliner will be on a bandwagon, and the show's 7.5 hours away, 3 days in a row,
Mm,
and we're just like zombies, bro.
yeah, I bet.
Zombies.
I bet.
Crazy.
That's
I'm
tough.
hoping to get yeah. I'm looking for with the new member. I want to get something I can put 5 bunks in. I know I think an RV is a little out of the question for me just because of the price, but I'm trying to get like a extended tall top van and put some bunks in it, just so. The last we just went to California before summer. I think in April, May, and I spent over $3,000 on hotels,
Oof, yeah.
and like the band guys are great guys, but they're full grown men too. They have to make a certain amount of money a week, so I pay them well. Everybody gets their cut. I'm paying for the gas, everything, and at the end of it, I get what's left. So it's like it is kind of like it's scary sometimes, but
Yeah.
I
I
just
get
always tell. I have a running joke with all the guys. I tell them, I just say, money's not real. Money's not real. And then like when we get when we get home, I'll text everybody like, I was wrong. Money's real.
money's real.
Money's so real.
Right. Well, how much is like at the end of the year though? Like, how much are you writing off? And like, you've got to have, you got a
Everything.
good accountant. Yeah, that's so
Yeah,
smart.
we do have a really good accountant, and but that's the other thing too. It's like you have to write so much stuff off. I guess you don't have to, but then you can't get a fucking loan because you don't make any money.
Yeah, because sometimes it shows that you are in the black, my friend. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean? Yeah, it's just, man, it's tough, and that's why I want to kind of spread the word. Like, you're a really hardworking musician. It's very like
Thank
inspiring to
you.
see what you're doing and what you've done from 10 years ago to now. And I think a lot of people are like, what does it take? I'm like, it takes what Joey does, dude. It takes grinding and getting a good team behind you and, getting in front of people and playing and making guarantees. And it's a lot.
I think a lot of it too is a lot of it's perseverance. Like there's a lot of guys who maybe aren't the best at what they do, but they just didn't stop. They're relentless. Like and they get the opportunity and they get in front of people and then and I think a lot of it too is like that get you 10,000 hours. You don't make the same mistakes you made 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago either. So you're like, I don't know. For me, my biggest thing was like checking my ego because I'm getting older and I'm like opening up for very younger guys, and like check your ego, watch your intake. I'm practicing some moderation right now. I'm like, we're kind of a drinking band, and you can't lead the circus every night for so long, and then so kind of like cutting out the liquor and stuff, and just little simple things, man. I think what comes with experience and how to talk to people, and how to operate with other musicians and stuff. It's all just a big learning experience, man. So
Yeah.
I think it all just comes with time, time and experience, man.
Yeah.
You can't.
Well, you've been killing it for a while, man, and I'm sure it's just going to continue to get better and better. Like it sounds like you've got, great vision for the future of what you're doing. It sounds like you guys are
Thanks.
very organized and kind of putting things together and getting where you need to go, to kind of get to that.
This is probably the first time, the last like I want to say the last maybe since like 2019 probably, and I've been touring since 2008. Whether successfully or unsuccessfully touring,
It's still touring, man. It's still putting in the hours.
But yeah, I think really just the last like 5 years we've been organized, and it's made such a difference, man. Having you can't just say people ask me all the time that are like starting out, like, what, how do I get a manager? I'm like, I have no idea. Like,
Right?
you just have to like eat shit for years, and then like you'll get lucky and somebody will take you on. But I mean, it's having another person just to kind of like be there next to you, helping you navigate it is just such an asset, man.
Yeah.
I don't know how bands or people that just kind of like, I don't know. Y'all listen to a lot of podcasts and you hear like people talking. They're like, "We then we get signed to RCA our third year as a band." I'm like, what?
Right.
How? Like, how'd you do that? Who is your uncle? Like, how did this happen?
Right? Yeah. It's funny,
Like,
man.
I'm almost mad. Like,
Yeah, because it's true though. It's like sometimes it's who you know and like who you can get in front of.
there's a
So
lot. There's a lot. Even if you're like we are, Bumping Ugly the same way. A lot of guys, man, uh, in this area that have just been busting their ass, and some of them make it. Like Ugly's made it. They're like doing great, great things, but they've never had any help, and that's like such a rare thing,
yeah.
for somebody to make it without any help, because luck is a big part of this.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But if you're out there enough, you get lucky more, I guess. So
That's true. It's like, do you ever listen to that band? There's a band called Lawrence. Have you ever listened to them?
no, I don't think I've heard that.
Dude. So they're young. They're probably 26 or something like that, but it's a brother sister duo, and then they have this killing band behind them. And when I first saw them, I'm like, oh my God, these guys are like wicked talented. And then they're all over the place. And then, they're signed all these, like this, I can't remember what label they're with, but they're touring in Europe, and they're going to Australia soon and stuff. They were just on the Tonight Show. Damn. And then I'm like, I find out that their dad is like a TV producer from the like 80s and 90s who had all these.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't discount those. They're killer musicians.
No. If I sound that way, I'm sorry. Cause if my uncle was in the industry, I'd be like, hey, help
I know.
Me.
Me too. No shame.
Let's go. Help me.
No shame. Trust me. No, and I didn't think you were throwing shade at all. I'm just saying, like, even though, you can be like top-notch talent like these kids and Lawrence, well, kids, they're young adults, and like not do anything, but then just having like just one in somewhere can kind of lead to getting you to that next spot, which is crazy. Well, let's get off that topic because I want to talk to you. Songwriter to
We're starting to get bitter. We got to get off.
I'm a bitter old man. No, but it's I find it, all this stuff is very fascinating to me for many reasons because I've been doing it a long time too. But like as a songwriter, I'm very interested in talking to you about what your process is when you think a song is done. Like I talk to a lot of people where I'm like, at what point do you decide a song is done? Is it when it comes out? Or is it when, okay, that song is recorded and done? Like, when do you feel a song is done?
Well, I would hope. Actually, that's not. I was gonna say when you book the studio time, but that's not always the case. You get in there and you might change half the song around when you're in there because now you're really listening to it. But I would say probably once you're ready to upload, once you're figuring out a track list. For me, I always kind of write at least the verses, and then get together with the band, and then, like I was saying before, those guys are just like rippers, man. They're all just amazing, and they know music theory, and they know where things should go. And so, if I hand them off something that might be a little fishy or could be better, they usually let me know, and then we kind of rework it. So, but yeah, I would say I've always tried to be in the studio as short time as possible, either because it costs money and like I like to come in prepared, but we did realize that a couple of songs on my Salt and Tar record, we kind of came in there and just kind of quickly busting them out. And then I was like, going back and listening, I'm like, man, we could have done so much more with that.
Yeah, I feel that hard.
Yeah, you're like, why did we make it so simple? We could have like really uplifted this part. And we're going in Thursday to the studio, and Brandon Hardesty's actually going to come sit in with us and kind of produce. I think that's going to be a big difference, having like an extra set of ears in there and somebody who knows you and knows what you're capable of. You know what I mean? So
heck yeah, dude,
that's
awesome.
going to be really cool. Yeah,
that's killer. All right, let's play the devil's advocate though. So like, you go back and you listen to something, and you're like, oh man, we could have done more with that. Have you ever felt though, when you were super prepared and over prepared, that it took the spontaneity out of a song?
Yes, absolutely.
Give me an example of that.
With the old band, we played so much. We were like all relying on playing constantly. We had to play like 3 or 4 nights a week because that's how we made a living. And we would play songs for like a year and a half before we ever recorded them. So they would just be like rock solid, and then we go and record a song for a new record that I've been playing for years. So when you write a song, when you first write it, you're very emotionally attached to it. And then the more not saying you don't feel a song after a year, but like the more you play it, the less kind of that like emotional feeling you have when you wrote the song is there. So we would go in and write. I'd be singing these very like emotional songs that had like big screaming hooks and stuff, where like you kind of had to feel it. And then you go back and listen. It just sounds like it kind of hit, like goes out of speaker and falls on the ground. It's like
Mm.
I wish I would have been in that mindset when I recorded it versus playing it for so long.
Can you get back there if you really kind of put yourself like where you were when you wrote it, or do you find that to be hard when you get in front of a mic to do your vocal?
Certain things, everything I write's pretty personal, but um, if it's at least for an old song like that, like an old Pasadena song, it'd be hard because a lot of that music was part of a big incestual friend group that kind of went through all these problems together. And but nowadays I write for me, so we got a 2-month-old baby and a 3-year-old, and my shit is real now. Like everything I'm writing now is real, dog. I
That's
don't got none of that angst, a young man's angst, where you're like, woe is me shit. I'm like, I'm daddy now. I gotta get this shit done. So
yeah.
it's all pretty real now and fresh,
We should
which
give
I love.
huge ups to partners too that help keep keep
Oh
the train
yeah,
rolling at
yeah,
home. Man, I
my
bet
God,
having a good person behind you, a good partner is there's nothing
yeah.
that can beat that, man. So
My wife's the best, man. When we had our first, um, well, when we found out we were pregnant with our first, I'm like, well, I gotta find a job. I won't be able to tour. And she's like, you still have a tour? You can't tour right away, but you can tour. You gotta wait till I'm settled in and everything. And then even with our new baby, I'm like, how the fuck am I gonna tour?
hmm
And she's always been the one kicking me out the door. She's like, you can't quit now. Like you gotta go. You can do it. Like we'll figure it out.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, you can't do it without a good partner
No,
for sure.
that's amazing, dude. All right, so you're going in to record, or do you have like a whole new record that you're working on right now, or is this just like a kind of single thing that you're going in to work on, or?
We kind of do it nowadays where we're gonna try and do 2 songs on Thursday, but really we're just doing one song at a time. So
Okay.
I have like five songs that I could get away with, playing live, but they're not done. So the
Right.
two we have closest, we're going in, and we're probably gonna tweak some things once we get in there. I've never done it this way, but the more people I talk to, a lot of the guys that I know that are doing really well, they prefer to just kind of go in there half cocked and like figure it out.
Right.
So I'm like, well, I mean, I can't. These and the two we're doing are kind of like more Americana, so it's like there's not a horn section or anything, and like my guys are pros, man. So I'm pretty excited just to see kind of like I've sent them voice notes and we haven't even like we got together once and kind of ran through some stuff, but like I'm pretty stoked to see what they have kind of prepared for the session. It's like kind of a first. I'm excited. But we usually go song by song, just because
Okay.
I don't want to. I've done it before where you go and you do all the drums one day, and I just kind of like paying more attention to like one thing,
Yeah. I was gonna
and
ask,
nothing
that's
gets
my next
overlooked.
question of like, do you guys like to like track things and make sure you're getting a good drum sound first and or do you like do everything live, or is it just you and the drummer kind of getting the arrangement of the song together, or is the whole band kind of together?
It's usually me and drums, and then we with the other guys. And there is a few songs. It seems like almost every album there's one song that like can't be clicked. Not that we couldn't click it, but um, it wouldn't sound authentic, or it would sound like a cheesy song. I think if we didn't do it live, so we do end up usually doing one record live, just because if it's more like of a punk rock beat or something like that, where you kind of everybody just leaning into it. I hate like playing hard shit to a click
Yeah.
because I just feel like I'm always just waiting like to get it in there and like fit.
Yeah. Man, and sometimes, dude, I'm a fan of like a click for like doing edits, obviously, and everything, but like sometimes you need a little bit of that human messiness, for a
Yeah,
track. You know what I mean? Like I remember I was in the Wood Brothers studio recording a few years ago, and Jono, the drummer, was
Fuck yeah.
producing the
That's
track,
awesome.
and I was playing keys on it, and the rhythm section was in a whole nother room. I couldn't even see him, and we were doing it to a click. And then Jono, we did like 2 passes, and Jono was like, "Hey, what do you guys think about me dumping the click and just playing?" And I'm like, I can't see them for cues because there's a couple stops. So hopefully all of our internal rhythm is on. And we did one more take, and that was the take. It was the
Nice.
non
Yeah,
click.
man.
And sometimes
Yep.
it feels better if there's that little taffy push and pull thing
Yep.
happen. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know, it's human nature. It's like how our bodies want to interact almost rhythmically sometimes. It's weird. There's
Yeah.
like a magic to it or something. I don't know.
I think I'm lucky because my drummer Corey was my drummer in Pasadena too. So I've had other great drummers play with me, but I guess like 2 records ago, I was able to get Corey back, um, and me and him, we have a lot of like pauses in songs, and me and him are just so tight with it that like I never look back at him, and like he can just read like my shoulder or something like that. Like I
Yeah,
don't know
man.
what it is, but so yeah, I love doing that kind of stuff in the studio because we're like tight and locked in like that, where we don't necessarily have to be in the same room, and you get that good sound.
Yeah, man. That's magic, dude. And you find some good cats that you can play with that it's almost like this telepathy
Yeah.
thing that happens between y'all. It's just magic. There's no way
Do
to
you
describe it.
do you know Kavusi?
A little bit, like I don't think we've ever met in person, but I think we've talked a little bit like in Facebook here and there.
Is He's got great music himself, but he's my guitar player, and he's just like awesome, man. He
Yeah.
plays piano and keys and sings, and like to have people like that is just such a blessing, man. Crazy. I'm like the least talented person in the band for sure.
You carry a lot of weight, brother. So is it 4 of you guys?
Yep. For
Okay.
peace. Yeah.
That's nice. I mean, that's a nice traveling band size. You know, it's not
Yeah.
you don't have to deal with that Tedeschi Trucks 9 people in a band type
I
situation.
know.
Can
We
you
we
imagine?
Pasadena was a big band, and it sucked. Like my God, it was hard to house everybody, and just a lot of people to feed, a lot of ego in the room, a lot of stink in the room.
Yeah, yeah. Dude, yeah, it's tough, man. Like having like that 4-piece band, I think that's it's a nice sized group where you're like
Yeah.
making a joyful noise. There's enough people that can carry the tune, you know what I mean? That's great.
I have there's a like a few players that I would love to have on the road with me, but I just can't facilitate them, man. Like I'd love to have a violin or a horn in the band.
Oh, that'd be
Um,
cool.
there's this guy, Derek. His like band like name is Man of the Forests,
Oh, I don't know them.
and he's out in San Diego, and he plays violin for all these bands in that reggae rock, like American reggae scene. He's awesome, super cool guy. And when we went to California, we put him on like 6 of the shows. So he, I think he did like Northern California to like Arizona with us, and it was amazing, man, amazing.
That's
But
killer.
I don't know how I could afford to do that full time. I'd love to have at least something like that, but before it's nice. And if I can get this new van and put bunks in it with the new member, 5 people, it'd be easy, so
Yeah,
easy.
that's dope, dude. Where do you guys usually record when you record?
I've recorded every single song except for one song with Frank Marchand from
He's like
Waterford.
the guy down there, isn't he?
Yeah,
Like
yep,
everybody goes. The Lincolns were just telling me about him. So
yep.
where is his studio?
He's bounced around a little bit, but his studio now is back where his original studio was, in I guess it's like Severna Park area,
Oh, okay.
like off Ritchie Highway, kind of between Baltimore and Annapolis. It's actually like 13 minutes from my house. Beautiful.
Yep, that's
It's
awesome.
amazing.
Yeah.
And we're just like good friends from all these years, and he's just an amazing guy. So we did one song at Bias, and I had a great experience. But yeah, I've always recorded with Frank, man, and I feel like he knows me, and the songs just sound great to me every time.
Did he
We're
do
gonna.
the Higher Hands record too? Didn't he do
I
that?
think he did Higher Hands.
Yeah.
He did Jimmy's Chicken Shack. I think he did a couple of theirs. He did. He's done. I think he's done all the guys in town. Yeah, he's done like definitely Grilled Lincolns. I think Scribe. I forget where Preston Strings records. I might be somewhere else, but yeah, all the guys from that scene.
Mhm.
And he also does like some pretty big, like he does like Gaelic Storm and like We Banjo Three, some pretty big like bands in that kind of like Irish folk circuit.
Okay.
Pretty
Okay.
cool.
I've heard nothing but good things about him. I mean, it's like every time somebody like Riddy was just like singing his praises the other night, and I was just like, I've heard so much about that dude, but I don't know that I've ever officially met him or anything. But like anytime I hear anything that he does that comes out of his studio, sounds great. Like
Yeah, he's the best.
sonically, it just sounds
He's
everything's
great.
like sits. Does he do the mixing too? Like, do you have him do all that, or do you farm that out?
Yeah, he mixes. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Mastering, we go through Mike Mike Mansour, who's always been his guy. Just like he's down at Air Show Mastering, I think is where we get mastered,
Okay.
and he's great.
Okay.
I personally can't tell the difference between a track that's been mastered or not, but you got to do it, and
Yeah.
he does a great job, and he's quick turnaround and stuff. So for me doing everything, I get lazy sometimes and forget, and then I'm like, hey man, I'm supposed to upload this next week. Can you
Yeah.
can you master this? I've been holding on to this record for months and I've not mastered yet.
Yeah. That's dope. So tell me a little bit about like what's coming, like what's on the horizon for this fall and for next year. Like, I just want to make people aware of what you got going on and where you're going to be headed. I saw you got
Sure.
some shows in New England coming up.
Yep, I'm doing. I've been on pretty much was it paternity leave all
Hmm.
summer because we had a baby in July. So just starting to kind of play some gigs, and then I'm doing a headline and run. Um, it's going to be out to Chicago. I'll see what are my dates at.
I'm going to pop
I'm
this up on the
doing.
screen too so people can see your website.
Yeah, I'm gonna be doing a pretty cool headline and run for like 2 weeks. Cleveland, Chicago, Madison, Indiana, Pittsburgh, Esbury Park, Pembroke, Massachusetts, Buffalo, and
Ooh.
then I'm heading home and doing two really cool solo shows: Winchester, Virginia, and 8x10 in Baltimore.
Oh, cool, man.
At the end of September, yeah. We snuck in a Dewey Beach show at the Starboard in October too. It's gonna be fun.
Oh, when is that?
Yeah, October 4th. I'm very excited.
I'm going to see what's going on October 4th on my calendar. Oh, that's a
And
Friday
then
night.
kind of the big headlining show around the area be we're doing Pearl Street with the band on October 25th. So
Oh,
that'll be
nice.
really cool.
That's a
Yeah.
great venue, dude. That's a great
Yeah, I
venue.
really like it. I'm hoping I think we got pretty close last time. Well, we were closer to selling out than not. You know, we weren't like right on the edge of it. I forget what the cap is there, but I'm hoping this time we can sell it out. That way we can move into what's the one next to it? Whatever the
You mean
it's like
in DC?
yeah, they're attached to another music room that's
Oh, I have no
a little
clue.
bigger. What's that called?
I've only been to Pearl Street twice. Are you familiar
Oh,
with the Brothers Landreth? That band?
it sounds familiar.
Yeah,
Oh, I know.
you should check them out. You should check out their album Let It Lie. It's like their first record. It's just I mean, that's a good place to start. But I saw them there, and what's crazy about that room is when you walk in and you see like these like linoleum floors and these
Yeah,
tall ceilings, you're like, "Oh God, how's it gonna sound in here?" But it
big
sounds
like garage glass wall.
yeah, dude. I know. I was like, this is
Sounds
gonna be
great.
like, blah, 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 blah. But it's totally, like as far as seeing an intimate show in DC, where well, I mean, what's the cap in that room? Is it like 250 people, maybe, or 200 people?
I
Small,
think it's 250. Yeah.
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 It's a great room to see like one of your favorite artists because it's very intimate and there's I don't know, like there's like that little upstairs area with tables. It's pretty
Yeah.
cool, man. I dig it.
When you're in front of the stage looking at that little balcony stuff, like if you didn't look over to where like it has like a diner vibe over there, but like
Yeah.
if you're just there and the lights are down, it's fucking great. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's the same guys that run like it's like Dustin and them that used to run like what's it called? Goodnight Gracie's, or what was that place that closed down? It was like under the overpass. It was a great venue.
Also in DC. I'm not as hip to
Yeah.
DC other than like the 930 Club, which I
But it's
also
it's
love.
some guys who ran some other great venues in DC. So they really know what they're doing and they treat you really good. It's a good spot, man. I
Yeah.
think Union Stage is the place it's attached to, and that's like the
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think that's like the 500 cap. So I'm hoping that we can get in there next year. Um, that would be great. I'd love to do that.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll get there, dude. There's no
Um,
doubt.
but then in the fall, I'm going out with Bumpin' Uglies. I'm on their title track of the new record. So Brandon asked me to come out and do like the pretty much the eastern portion of their big tour they're doing. So pretty much all in November I'll be with them, and that's from like starts in St. Paul, goes all the way down to Florida, and ends in like Rhode Island. It's like a crazy run,
Oh wow, man.
but
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm just flying solo for that one, so it's gonna be good. I'm
Are
excited.
you
Just open it up every night.
Oh yeah, that'll be cool, man.
Yeah.
Rachel's in here, a mutual friend. She said to play a show with Chris again.
Hey, I
And
will as soon as possible.
that's awesome. And are you at the beach? Like when you guys just played it? Did you play at Secrets or
Yeah, we were at Secrets last week.
was that the beach stage or was that the indoor stage? I couldn't tell.
It was beach stage. My first time playing beach stage. We played there with Bumpin'
Oh,
Uglies. It was awesome, man.
yeah, that
Yeah, that
place.
was a good time.
That's fun, man. What other venues do you usually play down there? Like, are you playing? And what's the other place? Fagers. Are you guys ever doing stuff down there? Or is that random?
Um, I've played figures years ago, but I have not played there with my solo band.
Hmm.
Um, I played. Where did I play last summer? This was a very slow summer for me. So I played like Pickles, I think.
Oh, okay.
I've been playing Pickles since I like started playing out, and
That's awesome.
they're awesome. Yeah, I think we're gonna shoot for. I think next summer we're gonna shoot for Starbird, and I'd like to do something at Burley Oak in their backyard. They have like a really cool backyard with like a big wood deck. They turned into like a really cool stage.
Oh, nice. I
Um,
didn't know that.
and then I'd love to play. What was the place you said? Northern Ocean City.
Northern Ocean City.
The one you just said. It's
Oh, Fagers.
yeah, it slipped my mind. Yeah, I like to
Yeah,
play there. That's a good room.
it's a good little stage. In terms
Yeah.
of like feeling nice and intimate. Yeah, I think the place is
Mhm.
cool. Is Burley Oak? Is that in Berlin?
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Okay.
a great spot.
Yeah, that town, man. That town is blowing up, dude. That's like,
It's amazing, man.
yeah.
It really is like, and then they have, I think it's actually might be turning owners or something right now, but they were having music at the Globe Hall there, which is a
Mhm.
really cool bar, old historic building with like a 5 foot stage, like really
Okay.
tall stage.
Nice. Dude, did you guys ever play? You might have played this place, but did you ever play the Santa Fe Cafe in
Oh
University of Maryland?
yeah,
Do you remember that
absolutely.
weird ass stage that was like 20 feet up in the air?
There's people eating under you,
Yeah,
and
super
then the
weird.
drummer, you were here on the stage. Under you was booths. People were eating while you were playing,
Yeah.
and then the whole band were here, and then behind you, a whole floor up, there was a little hole, and the drummer was up there.
Yeah.
Made no fucking sense. It
So
was
weird, dude.
ridiculous.
So
Yeah,
weird.
we played there a few times, and then we played what's that, Thirsty Turtle or Thirsty Tortoise or something like that. It
Oh
was like right
yeah.
around the corner.
Yeah, yeah,
Ugh. I'm getting too
yeah.
old. I'm getting too old to play college towns, man.
That's the thing, though. It's like you said, man. You got to sow your oats. You got to do that
Yep.
thing. That's just how it goes. Oh
Oh
man. All
yeah.
right. Well, Joey, I don't want to hold you up, man. Let's do this thing. So I do this thing called the lightning round get down. And you might have seen it if you watched the Oliver Wood one. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you 10 questions. It's a this or that type situation. I'm going to put a metronome on for some suspense. We're going to cruise at an altitude of 112 BPM. And the first one's always the same. Lennon or McCartney?
I'll just say McCartney just because, well, I don't know because I know it's supposed to be an easy answer, but who knows what Lennon would have done? You know what I mean?
True.
I don't know.
Very true.
I'll say McCartney since he's alive.
Dude, have you ever seen that guy live?
No, I would love to though.
Oh my God, dude. I saw it when he came to Camden Yards 2 years ago.
Nice, dude.
He sounded amazing. And I've seen him twice in my life, which is crazy. He played at Fenway Park when I was going to Berkeley. And my wife was like, we got to get tickets. I don't care. Like, we're broke, but we got to go. So I was like, yes, we do.
Gotta be amazing.
It was amazing. It was amazing. All right. Crab chips or burger cookies?
Crab chips for sure.
All right. Sunsets or sunrise?
Ooh. Sunrise. You got to earn that shit. You got to either stay up all night or get up early.
All right. Orioles or Nationals?
Orioles.
Okay.
For sure.
On the water or in the woods?
Water, man. Yeah, I'm on the water right now. I love it. Yeah, that's me.
Mm-hmm. Do you prefer playing acoustic or electric?
I have only very recently started playing electric, so I'll say acoustic because electric terrifies me. I'm just starting to get used to it.
Why? Why does it terrify you?
Just a different beast, man. Like I on the new record, I play electric on 3 songs. So the whole tour, I played electric for those 3 songs. But it took a while for me not to just. I was like ripping the strings off the fretboard, and like I had to really like learn how to like just be gentle with it, And I'm not much of a lead player. I do a lot of the kind of those folk tricks when I'm playing chords and stuff, But yeah, man, electric is just like it's like driving a band van and then somebody like gives you the keys to their Ferrari. You're like, have fun,
right?
I don't know how to drive this. I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, you're modest, but you're a great player, so I'm gonna say
Thanks,
that.
man. I appreciate it.
All right. Would you rather have boundless imagination or a photographic memory?
Boundless imagination for sure. As a songwriter, I think I would definitely rather have that.
Makes sense to me. All right. Do you prefer your sauce on the side or do you like sauce on top of your meal?
Any meal?
Any meal, but something that would come with a sauce, a juice.
Oh, I feel like a bitch, but probably on the side, man. I like to be able to
dipping.
I like to have control over how much sauce is on my stuff.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. All right. So as a new dad, a secondly new dad, vacation or staycation?
Oh man. Well, we just took a long ride with an infant down to the Outer Banks for a week, and it was beautiful.
Nice.
But I do like me a staycation. I really do.
Me too. Man. I'm sure like after you're away for a while, and especially when you're away from your family and you come home, you don't want to go anywhere. You just want to be home. So.
Oh yeah, vacations. I feel like such like a old man or something. But vacations always seem like they're 2 days too long for me.
Dude, I'm right there with you. And you know what? Interesting.
I could have a 4-day vacation in a heartbeat and be like, that was great. Let's get the fuck out of here.
And like not all. I feel like there's 2 types of traveling. There is vacation, and then there's trips. And I feel like trips are like when you're running and gunning and trying to fit stuff in, and vacation should be like mellow sauce all week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or like no plan, I like that. I like a no plan trip.
Me too, man. Me too.
Yeah.
All right, here's the last one, Joey. So sometimes it's the hardest for people, sometimes it's the easiest. If you could pick one album, it doesn't have to be your favorite album of all time, but if you could pick one album and erase it from your memory so you could go back and experience it for the first time again, what album would that be?
Probably Jason Isbell, Southeastern.
Okay. Tell me why. That
was like in my adult life, probably the album that hit me most, like it did when we were kids. Like listen to it and I was like, holy shit! Like he's talking to me. Like I know all this, and like makes you cry. Some of his stuff is just so beautiful, and like he's so subtle with his songwriting. It's like it just all fits together so perfect in like a deep, real way. I just love it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that album hit me in my adult life, as far as like just couldn't turn it off. I'm like,
Yeah. Dude, okay, so on that tip, this is interesting. On that tip, because dude, I mean, I'll cry listening to music too. I have no shame in saying that because
oh yeah.
music is so powerful. But like, what's the one song that always gets you regardless, even though you've heard it a million times? Like, what's the one song that's like, ugh, gut punch?
What's like the Forrest Gump of songs?
Right? Uh,
Oh, I tell you what, it's not even like something I listen to all the time, but that Doll song, I think just because like my old band was so tight that when we broke up, like, when we had our last show, people came through with their kids and they met at our show, or like,
oh man.
we had a big banner on the wall that Soundstage blew up for us, and it had people could write on it, and they wrote all these stories, and it was just so heartbreaking in the best way. And that now we're doing reunion stuff again, so it's like we're kind of doing like a show or two a year. But at the time, I was like, this is it. This is the end of this. All this work that we did is gone. And Ray Roten played that song that night. He was opening up and he played that song. So I
Wow.
think in my recent life, it probably would be that all your favorite band song, just because it's so relatable to us.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a powerful one, man. Man,
Yeah.
that had to be total mind F reading all those like people writing all that beautiful stuff about you
Oh,
guys.
dude, I still have the banner in my garage, and like sometimes I just roll it out, and like because I it's like so much stuff. I just like look through it. It's pretty amazing.
That's
Pretty
beautiful,
cool.
dude.
Yeah.
Well, Joey, let me pop your website up here again. So anybody that is listening right now on Apple Podcast or Spotify, you're going to want to head over to joeyharkum.com. That's Harkum, joeyharkum.com. Check out all of the tour dates, the music, a bunch of great stuff on there. And then for Instagram at Joey Harkum. If you want to find out more about what Joey's doing, what's coming up, please support, Joey and on the road, whatever town you're in across the country. If you see his name pop up on a poster or a marquee, go to the show. He's damn good.
We're out there.
Yeah, man. Anything else you want to drop before we head out? Like anything else going on?
No, man, we're just gearing up to start touring again. So, but just want to say thanks for having me on this, man. It's great. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Dude,
Awesome.
absolutely. Anytime. I mean, and we're in the same state. So at some point,
I know. Let's hang
I will
out.
see you.
Let's
At
hang
some
out,
point.
man.
Yeah, we will.
Where do you? What town do you live in?
I'm up in Moncton.
Oh,
So
okay. Oh, beautiful up there.
yeah, just like 25 minutes north of the city.
So you're a woods guy then?
I'm not. I'm a beach guy. My wife is a woods person. She's like crazy. She's like one of those backpack like 2 miles, into deep country and
Nice.
stuff. But I'm like, no, thank you. I'd rather sit on a beach.
It's beautiful
So
up there in Moncton, man. I had a friend up there.
yeah,
Gorgeous up there, man.
yeah, it's great. And I don't live too. I grew up in Bel Air, so like I can shoot over to see like my brother and my mom and
Yeah.
stuff. It's 40
That's the
minutes.
cool thing about Bel Air, man. You'd be like kind of by Looney's, and then if you drive like 5 minutes away, you're like in this beautiful forest. Like it's crazy.
Dude, Maryland is awesome. Let's just like
Yeah.
let's go on the record and say Maryland's pretty great. People don't. I mean, dude, I had the funniest story real quick before we go. My wife and I are watching Jeopardy one night, right? And the question was something to the effect of, this state that lies between Virginia and Pennsylvania is also home to like whatever. They said something. The District of Columbia is right stuck in the nook of it. And they showed a picture of our state. No one knew.
Nobody knew it was.
No one knew our state. And my wife and I are like, how can
Keep
you
it that way.
I know. But it's, I
Hey,
mean,
wait.
it's a great place, man. But
Oh
Joey,
man,
dude,
yeah.
thank you so much for hanging out with me, man. Like, best of luck to everything that you do, buddy. I'm sure by the time next year, hopefully we can do this again next year, and you will be playing those bigger rooms, of
Yeah,
course.
buddy.
And we'll keep cruising you and putting you up to the top of the list here. But anytime you got something to promote, feel free, man. Come on
I
and we can talk
appreciate it,
about it.
man. Yeah, and I'll shoot you a text. We'll link up for a beer or something, man, for sure.
Yeah,
I'd love to hang
perfect.
out.
Absolutely, man.
I was
All right.
I was so like sad that I was playing out of town for that wax show, and I was so bummed because like I love everybody playing that show.
Yeah.
And then like the icing on the cake was like I saw a video of you shredding on the stage. I'm like, oh man, like everybody was down there. Damn.
It's very rare that I get out to do stuff like that when I'm not gigging. Usually if I'm not gigging, I try to be home. But like, but yeah, that was a blast. I hadn't played the 8x10 in a minute, so that was fun. But
Love
yeah.
it. God bless the 8x10. Save
Yeah.
the 8x10.
Right?
We need to
For
stay
real.
there.
Absolutely. Well, Joey, hang out 1 second. Everybody else, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and we will see you next time.
Bye, everybody.